Okay, I'm thinking a lot about hip internal rotation lately. I took a ski lesson the other day that had us, if this is downhill and that's uphill behind me, we had our skis facing across the hill, and then we did a drill where I had to keep my shoulders and my head and my hands facing down the hill. I would tip my skis, we slide down the hill, and then we want to reverse position, and then we would do it again sort of as we slide down the hill, all the while keeping that upper body facing downhill. And that very much illustrated to me the need for good, what we call internal rotation. If you look at my left leg here, my pelvis is turning towards that leg, and we call that internal rotation. Now, not only is that going to be important for skiing and turning while skiing, but if we look at running or if we look at walking, again, here's this leg fixed here. As I take a step, that pelvis needs to rotate towards that leg bone. And if I don't have good internal rotation when I do these things, that leg may sort of spin out, and that may be a problem, that may be a component of maybe some back pain or some hip pain or some knee pain, or it may just be a problem if I want to perform as well as I can. So again, that got me thinking about ways to improve internal rotation. I'm going to go through a series of drills that Nick Studholm had showed me, and I've seen some of this stuff with John Hardy's Faster Global program. But if we just start maybe standing like this, and I'm going to use my left side here to illustrate this, and I just start to maybe turn my pelvis here, kind of turning my whole body, and I'm getting that internal rotation. I'm not twisting through my lumbar spine. I'm not just turning my shoulders, but I'm turning if I think about my belt buckle, I'm turning that belt buckle to the left here. And that's a pretty easy position to do this in. It's not too much of an intense stretch. But if I want to ramp it up just a little bit, I might bring this other foot ahead, and I can still turn my hip, and now I'm getting more of that internal rotation. If I want to gradually sort of intensify that stretch, I can start to bring my foot around, so I start to get almost a perpendicular situation with the feet, or a 90-degree kind of scenario there. And now that's turning this into a bit stronger stretch. I can kind of rotate there and feel all that working through here. Here's some things to watch out for. Here's what not to do. If I'm in this position here and I'm restricted, what I may wind up doing is just twisting the upper body. And now I'm not getting the internal rotation of the hip that I want, but what may happen is I wind up cranking on this lumbar spine, and that may be uncomfortable. That may exacerbate a problem that we're trying to avoid. The other thing too, when I'm doing this, I probably want to step pretty tall here. I want to kind of keep my hips sort of up under me. Sometimes what happens in doing this drill, as I'm rotating, I start to hit a restriction, but I still want to keep going, then we start to see something like this, and we start to again see that upper body start to twist. So we may want to avoid that. You may want to kind of squeeze the glutes, keep the pelvis sort of rotated posteriorly underneath you as you do this drill. If there's any pain in here, of course, stop, okay? So the progression again is feet together, that's sort of an easy position. I bring this foot ahead. It's a little bit more of an intense drill there, and then if I take a step around that corner into that 90-degree position, that's an even bigger stretch yet. It also take my feet out wide, still getting internal rotation, and I could again put my feet in all those other positions. So there's a rundown of how to work on internal rotation of the hip.